And with Moicano, right? And this is prototypical chat GPT. How do I talk to Brendan Schaub? Here it is. He's dumb. He's a meathead. He's bad at podcasting. He was a bad fighter. If I post a truck, did you flip it? The standard shit, right? The standard shit. None of it's original. So his team put in chat GPT. How do I talk to Brendan Schaub? Again, he's in Brazil, so I don't know. Maybe it's a translation issue.
Yeah. If you think yourself as dumb, think the people that watch the Brendan Schaub show on YouTube, the comedian, the special. That's terrible. Okay, brother. Even I can do better than that shit, brother. And I don't even speak English, and I can be funnier than you, my brother. So
gosh. Papa catches a stray.
Wasn't he on, Ariel, when he said that?
Correct, Brian. That's the point.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah.
No, but did he go on?
Hold on. Yeah.
No, but he didn't go on.
Brian doesn't get it. Let me do this.
He didn't go
went on Ariel to address this. He doesn't have a fight.
Only that?
He doesn't have a fight coming up.
Go on there for other things.
He doesn't have a fight coming up.
Right.
Brendan Schaub is losing his mind in the most prototypical Brendan Schaub way possible. This is some of the funniest shit I've seen in a while. The guy simply cannot stop taking L's. Whenever there's a new situation with his podcast, or someone's calling him out, or he fumbles a business venture, he always manages to misread the room and make the situation worse than it needs to be, while also embarrassing himself in the worst way possible. This beef between Brendan and UFC fighter Renato Moicano is no different. It's the same shit, different day. Brendan starts it, the other guy claps back, and then Brendan has a full-on meltdown over it while claiming, wait for it, this is the best part, he does not give a fuck. Brendan cares so little about this situation that he decided to dedicate half an episode of The Fighter and the Kid to addressing 2 sentences Moicano dropped on the Ariel Helwani Show. This reminded me of the time Brendan lost his mind over a 6-word Nate Diaz tweet where he ranted for a whole episode and nearly had an aneurysm, C-clamps and all, just to tell us how much he doesn't care. And he even brought up his beef with Nate while ranting about Moicano. This dummy spit has everything. We've got Brendan confusing himself, we've got Brian Callen pushing back with logic and Brendan shutting him down by humiliating him, and we've even got some new Schaubisms. Remember though, if you like my videos and you want to keep up to date with my uploads throughout the week, make sure you subscribe to both of my channels, Podcast Cringe and Podcast Cringe Bites, and check out the link in the description to my Patreon for uncensored exclusive deep dives on all the usual suspects. But for those of you who don't know what's going on, this is where it all started.
All right, so I'm sure I don't know how much money you're getting.
Give me my money. Give me my money. I got no ties to the UFC.
Yeah.
Give me my goddamn money. I already put a deposit down on a ZR1. Get the out of here. What if Moicano, here's the thing that's sad about this. So
it's a say for the audio listeners.
Yeah. So what Chin brought up says Renato Moicano turns down $200K, which I fought longer than him, $200K settlement check in a bizarre display of UFC solidarity. This is not what free market is about, he says, his decision. Here's the thing, Moicano. That money is getting allocated no matter what, buddy. No matter what. You being a company man and not taking it doesn't give you an inch of good grace with the UFC. This does not matter. There's guys that are more famous than you that are fighting right now that are taking their settlement. The UFC does not give a f. The UFC made out in spades. They got off so easily. It's so dumb not to take the money. It's so fucking dumb. It makes no sense. I'm not his friend. If I could just take him to the side and explain to him how, and if he has kids, like, buddy, you can take this money and invest it for your children. And the UFC's not going to be a bad matchup. They literally don't care. I'm probably the one guy who's going to stop you dead in his tracks. Send me my goddamn money. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, he's just uneducated about the whole situation.
This all has to do with a recent class action antitrust lawsuit that Brendan was part of by default, which accused the UFC of using monopolistic practices to suppress athlete pay by using exclusive contracts and coercion. The UFC ended up settling for $375 million in October last year, and it was officially approved by the court in February of this year. This whole thing had been going on for over a decade, but the final settlement was split between fighters from December 2010 through June 2016. 2017, which is why Brendan Schaub was included, and of course Moicano as well. Except Moicano rejected his $200K portion of the payment because, in his own opinion, it just didn't feel right.
On your podcast, the Show Me the Money podcast, the great Show Me the Money podcast, shout out to the YouTube channel. Here you are saying that you turned down the settlement money. And this created a whole uproar, Renato. Everyone weighed in on this. Everyone. Brendan Schaub weighed in on it. All the media weighed in on it. Other fighters were writing you and whatnot.
The whole lawsuit stuff was based on UFC is a monopoly. I think they should treat the athletes better. I think they should pay more money. And so they filed the lawsuit with the lawyers. They went to the court. And at one point, they say, no, let's settle this down. And they do agreement with the fighters in UFC. And they say, no, we're gonna give you 300 and I don't know how much millions. And they dropped the lawsuit. So that was not about UFC being a monopoly. That was the way for the lawyers and the fighters to get money. I'm not planning to be friends with UFC after I'm done. I'm just doing things based on what I believe and my principles.
As you can imagine, opinions are pretty divided on Moicano's reasoning for rejecting the payment. He's basically saying if he accepted it, he would implicitly be agreeing that the UFC is a monopoly, which he disagrees with, and that he was underpaid earlier on in his career, which apparently he also disagrees with. But his main point is that if the fighters who started the lawsuit genuinely cared about putting a stop to the UFC's predatory tactics, which everyone is well aware of, I mean, Dana White's the biggest tight ass on the planet, unless he's playing blackjack, but if they really cared about holding the UFC to account, they wouldn't have settled and instead pushed for a judgment to actually force the UFC to make changes to the way they do business with fighters. Instead, they forked out a few $100 million and went back to business as usual. So I can see where Moicano is coming from in the sense that this decade-long lawsuit didn't actually change anything, it just put a little bit more money in the pockets of a bunch of fighters who were underpaid. But Brendan, being the business shark that he is, thinks that choosing not to accept the money based on morals and principles is so outrageous that it actually hurt his feelings.
For you to forego that because you think that you're going to be in the good graces of the UFC brass, buddy, I hate to tell you, they could give two f***s. That's the truth. And if nobody in your team has told you that, and if you had agents or managers or people in your camp and coaches telling you not to take it, f***ing fire them. Any other brain busters, Chin?
All right, hang on. First of all, what the fuck is a brainbuster? Bubba, you can't just keep making this stuff up. A brainbuster is a wrestling move. I think you mean brain teaser, you know, like 2 × 2 + 1. And for the love of God, stop saying they could give 2 fucks. It's they couldn't give, as in could not. I mean, even Moicano knows how to say it, and English is his second language.
I cannot care less about UFC. They are a company.
Honestly, Moicano is easier to understand than your boy Brendan. But brainbusters aside, a few days ago on the Ariel Helwani Show, Renato clarified his position on rejecting the money in quite a bit of detail, doubling down on his reasoning and how he believes it would be unethical to take the money. But the best part was when he called out Brendan Schaub for saying he was dumb for not taking the money. This is what now has Bupper's knickers in a knot. Brendan spent a whole episode of the Schaub Show a couple of weeks ago shitting all over Moicano, saying he's dumb and doesn't understand business, saying he doesn't understand what's really going on with the lawsuit, that his handlers screwed him by not explaining it to him properly, etc. And so while he was talking to Ariel, he had a little message for your boy Bupper.
Keep calling me dumb. Keep calling me whatever you want. I don't care. I live by my principles, and I don't expect you that don't have principles to understand what I did. And it is what it is. This is a free country, you know. Choose and give your opinions. I don't care. You can give your opinions. Again, I did not watch a show, and I did not watch Brendan Schaub or whatever did, because he spent a whole hour talking shit about me. I saw a small clip, and I commentating on that. But I'm not gonna be watching every clip that people talk about me, you know. It is what it is. You can do whatever you want. Sometimes when I'm doing the Show Me the Money podcast, I cannot articulate like that. I cannot say the things that I believe in because it's a 1 hour show and I have to be funny. You know, I have to be funny. I want to be funny.
Sure.
I'm speaking on my second language. And so that's why I can understand why the people clip and they say, hey, this guy is dumb, you know? And if you think yourself as dumb, think the people that watch the Brandon Schaub show on YouTube, the comedian, the special. That's terrible. Okay, bro? Even I can do better than that shit, brother. And I don't even speak English, and I can be funnier than you, my brother.
My gosh. Papa catches a stray. Oh dear. Oh
Okay.
dear.
And just like that, a new homeless cat is born. That was absolutely fucking brilliant. What a bloody legend. This is how you deal with Brendan. Hit him right where it hurts, square in the nuts. Not only did he insult Bupper's intelligence, he doubled down and insulted his whole audience. I mean, are you not entertained? Well, apparently your boy was not happy about this. So he decided to spend half of the latest episode of The Fighter and the Kid addressing just how much he doesn't care. Yet even after all this time and after Moicano coming out and explaining in detail why he rejected the deal, Brendan still managed to completely miss the point and embarrass himself. Now, I don't actually completely disagree with Brendan's take on all of this. Sure, if you agree that UFC fighters are underpaid, which I definitely do, then yeah, you should take the money. The UFC is $1 billion company that grew off the back of good promotion, but also off the back of guys who are willing to take a beating in the octagon. They've got to get paid too. So there are definitely merits to both sides of the argument, but as usual, Brendan ends up getting all in his emotions and making the strangest points. This truly was just bizarre.
Did you see finally Moicano respond to me criticizing him not taking the
Moicano?
Moicano?
I did not see that.
He responded to me criticizing him for not taking the money. Now let me be very upfront here. Him not taking the money helps me out. So at the end of the day, I don't give a flying. It actually puts more money in my pocket, Don Cerrone's pocket, some other fighters that could probably use it. But here's my thing, Bubba. I expect a rebuttal. Whenever you criticize a fighter, we're fighters.
I think you went hard in the press. I think what he
hold on, let me finish. Yeah. So whenever you call out a fighter, I expect a response. They're fighters. You call me out. If you're just a general fan or hater, I don't respond. If we're from the same alumni or you're professional, well, now you got my attention. And because I'm not going to come off as a bully there. Like with Nate Diaz, that's not bullying. He called me out. We're from the same fraternity. We can both fight. So if we fight, we both have a set of skills and we both agree to it. That's different than if you're just some schmuck at the bar. That's not cool. But here's the thing with Moicano is, if you're going to start a beef, if you're going to go back and forth, buddy, you can't wait. Hold on. You can't wait 10 days to respond. I don't know if it's a language barrier. I don't know if it's a translation thing where they had to figure out what I said. Either way, your handlers, you can't get back to me after 10 days. I've moved on. When someone and fans were hitting me up like, oh, Moicano's taking shots, I went, what? Who? About what? I've moved, dude, this is 10 years. It's like with Nate Diaz. It took him several days to respond, and all he said was, you'd be surprised. Well, first of all, I've already moved on in my life, dude. And second of all, that's not original. That's so weak. You're making a reference from 12 years ago. And your team, your handlers, that's what you got. And with Moicano, right? And this is prototypical chat GPT. How do I talk to Brendan Schaub? Here it is. He's dumb. He's a meathead. He's bad at podcasting. He was a bad fighter. If I post a truck, did you flip it? The standard shit, right? The standard shit. None of it's original. So his team put in chat GPT. How do I talk to Brendan Schaub? Again, he's in Brazil. So I don't know. Maybe it's a translation issue.
Yeah.
Is that seriously what we're going with here, B? You took too long to respond, so it don't count. Was that really the best you could come up with? It took too long, return to sender? Bro, there's no expiry date on this shit. Gringo Papi is forever etched in the imaginations and collective conscious of the internet. You ain't never gonna beat it. Come on, B. Don't you remember what your boy Rogan told you? You ain't never gonna beat the internet. And why would you bring up Nate Diaz's response saying you'd be surprised? That was a genius line. Look how much it got to you. You're still talking about it. And that came from a guy with worse CTE than you. But the whole angle that Moicano took too long to respond definitely took the cake for me. That was some prime Brendan Schaub logic right there. Yet, even though Moicano was out of time and past the deadline, Brendan still decided to go through his response and break it down line by line. That's how much he didn't care about it.
If you think yourself as dumb, I never said I was dumb. I might call myself an idiot, but compared to him, I'm Elon Musk.
Well, he's not talking to you about that.
Think about my fans, which is, if you're listening to me, that means I'm dumb and he's dumb and the fans are dumb, right? And then he goes, Brendan Schaub's show on YouTube. Oh, it's a podcast, mainly audio. We do YouTube just for the of it.
So he
and
said,
the comedy
read
special.
the whole quote. Sorry.
Hold on. And the comedy special. Oh, you're talking about from 5 years ago?
Yeah.
So it's just like, dude, and again, if you were going to come with this rebuttal, you got to do it at least within 24 hours. Otherwise, I'm out, bud. I'm not going to play your game. But if you're going to wait a fucking week, 10 days, however long this took to come up with this rebuttal, it has to be good. Then I'm like, all right, they took their time. They probably got some writers. Then I'm in. But when it's this, and listen, I like Moicano. Him not taking the money helps me out, helps the other fighters out. You're putting more money in my pocket.
What the actual fuck is going on here? Now you're grilling him for saying it's a YouTube show instead of a podcast? Brendan, nobody gives a fuck. Everyone knows you get most of your views on YouTube. The only reason you claim audio is king is because you know that we can't see those numbers. They're hidden. Do you not see how transparent you are when you say that? But hold up, this just gets better and better. Apparently, Moicano only had 24 hours to respond. Otherwise, Brendan's not going to play his game. Bro, you posted your response to his call out 4 fucking days later. Think about what you're actually saying, mate. Even Brian's sitting there trying his best not to cringe and correct you. And who the fuck would hire writers to go back and forth in an internet beef? This response from Brendan is an absolute disaster. Like, the guy has completely lost the plot. Not a single good point has been made so far, and I've edited this down quite a bit. What else you got, Chin?
And here's the other thing. If you're going to respond and then make fun of me, how no one watches my show, or I can't podcast, can't do this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Bud, to get your message out, you have to go on another man's show to reach me. I sit down over there in a chair for the last 12 years and get my message out. And you saw it. It got to you. You have to call another grown man who's built their platform, and Ariel Helwani has a big platform, just to reach me, bud. I do it from here, and you're making fun of me.
Wait, it might have been that he let it go, and then Ariel asked him about it.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't have a fight coming up. This is the only thing that's current in his life.
Wasn't he on Ariel when he said that?
Correct, Brian. That's the point. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
No, but did he go on?
Hold on. Yeah,
no, but he didn't go on.
Brian doesn't get it. Let me do this.
He
went on Ariel to address this. He doesn't have a fight coming up.
Only that?
He doesn't have a fight coming up.
Go on there for other things.
He doesn't have a fight coming up.
Right.
It was at that point Brian Callen said to himself, what are we doing here, B? Clearly Brendan's all in his feelings over this. I still don't understand his point about going on another grown man's show. He's a UFC fighter going on Ariel Helwani's show to talk about the settlement and whatever the fuck else. He only hit back at Brendan at the very end of the interview, but your boy's acting like he went on there just to talk shit about him. This is the raging narcissist in Bupper coming out. The way he tried to shut down Brian by doing that little cringe-ass telephone call act was some of the saddest shit I've ever seen a grown man do.
And then he's trying podcasts, and everyone their mom is, right? Weird. Who's the first UFC fighter to do a podcast? Do you know who it is? Right? So he's going to launch a podcast. You're going to call it Show Me the Money. And then when they show you the money, you turned it down. Oh, but I'm the dumb one. All
right, Brendan, you got me with that one. That's actually a good point. Moicano calling his podcast Show Me the Money after he rejected the money is ironic. But just to clarify, you're still the dumb one, bro. That one don't count. And I'm not going to lie, I'd never ever heard of Moicano's podcast Show Me the Money, so I looked it up, And check this out. He's only got 39,000 subscribers compared to Thick Boy's 177,000, yet they still do around the same numbers. I mean, Moicano's podcast almost does the same numbers as The Fighter and The Kid, and that's got over 500,000 subscribers, and it's been going for over a decade. Bro, why would you bring that up? You're the most frequent guest in JRE history, yet when you adjust the numbers to account for all the paid bots you have, Moicano's podcast is actually performing better than both of yours. Tell us, Brendan, how is it that you have an 8-hour-old comment on your video 9 minutes after it went live? But that's besides the point. Almost every argument Brendan brought up in retaliation to Moicano's brutal takedown didn't even make sense. Not a single well-thought-out point was made in that whole episode. Just bucket loads of copium on full display for the world to see. And if you want to see more of comedians coping on podcasts, make sure you're subscribed to both of my channels, Podcast Cringe and Podcast Cringe Bites, and check out the link in the description to my Patreon for uncensored exclusive deep dives. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.